welcome to SportsKhabri with me, Rishi and Adi. It's our first FPL related podcast. It's the Premier League season is ever so close. We're about 3 weeks away now from the start of the Premier League, and yeah, dude, it's that time of the year again where football gets into a proper flow and you've got things to talk about every week. It's a little bit of a down period right now, and it's weird, dude. Like it's so weird not having any football to talk about. But yeah, we can look ahead to the FPL season at least. Something that we all take very seriously. Um, but yeah, dude, I think this little video is just to see ahead of the campaign who are the must-haves for each for each manager, because there will be differentials. I'm sure nobody wants to give away their differentials ahead of an FPL season, and I just thought, okay, let's just see if there are some nailed on ones that will be there. You know what? In probably most teams. Rishi, off the bat, anybody in your head that you're saying, bro, yeah, like this guy is going to be there in everyone's team, no matter what?
I mean, at least going off of last season, you can say, off the top of my mind, you can say someone like Watkins, someone like, if not Isaac, Havertz is going to be there. These are, again, the options for people who are not going to take someone like Haaland. If you want to sit and spend, 15 million on Erling Haaland, be my guest. I don't think I'll be starting off the season with Haaland at least. And after the first 3 weeks, I'll be crying maybe. But regardless, see, if you're starting off with Haaland, then you're probably not going to have a lot of, other striking options. You're going to have to cut down on at least one striker. So you have to pretty much get a banger, second striker. So I feel one of these three are really good shouts. Like Watkins was the highest FPL points receiving player last season.
Yeah.
And you could see Havertz was also getting into form towards the second half of last season, and he was, if not he was scoring, he was certainly assisting. He was playing a lot of games, he was contributing, and I feel in the second half, even Alexander Isak picked up pace. So one of these three or two of these three would be my picks up front, at least. If you don't want to pick Haaland, then you can probably afford all three. Otherwise, at least one or two of these three would be my choice.
Yeah, I agree. I think Erling Haaland or Ollie Watkins, I think is I feel like it's a given because Watkins. I mean, although Erling Haaland is, dude, 15 million is a lot to pay for a striker, but Ollie Watkins priced at 9 is just seen a million increase since his last year's price, which is not a lot. So in that context, I think it makes a lot of sense to have somebody like Ollie Watkins, and I think a lot of people will go for him because if you look at the strikers pool, as somebody who's going to give you like short returns, you're looking at guys like Haaland and Watkins and maybe even Isak. I don't know, but I think Watkins is probably the safer bet. With Villa also doing well, and if they continue to do so, I think that's a safer bet than somebody like an Isak. We don't know how Newcastle will turn up. So City, Aston Villa, I think would be the safer options. Yeah, Adi, bro, like any short options for you in midfield?
I mean, see, like I think midfield is that one place where you have a lot of players, anyways. Not really sure because again, firstly we have to talk about the big teams having a lot of manager changes. In terms of in terms of Liverpool, in terms of Chelsea. So you're getting new players. I mean, new managers, new playing style. So maybe last year, based on how Liverpool or especially Chelsea with Cole Palmer, the way Pochettino used them, I don't know if it's going to be the same way. We can't sit and say okay, last year he had 20 goals, 20 assists. I mean, 20 goals and assists, more than 20 goal assists season. So it's going to be the same thing this year. Again, it's because of the style of play. Because last year it was more of that counter-attacking football which Chelsea played with him, being the star of it. He had more space to exploit, etc. But with your Chelsea right now, it looks like it's going to be more of a possession-based football, and they're going maybe the teams will sit back against them a bit more. So for me, Palmer might from last season to this season might be not a sure guy because for me, when Palmer started playing for Chelsea, I remember he scored a penalty against Burnley, and then he had like 8-9 penalties continuously, like Chelsea. In last year, he's got a lot of goals through penalties because of the fact that Chelsea received a lot of penalties. Again, they are very pacey wingers on the counter attack, a lot of mistakes. So I don't know, bro. That's the thing. If I put that from last year to this year, maybe Palmer won't be there for me from the get go. Maybe I would look into, and that's the thing. At least with these top teams, we'll have to see how they start off, right? Because from previous season to this season, if you want to take a safe bet with Chelsea, with Liverpool, you would generally go for your Cole Palmer or your Salas. But I'll have to see how they do in preseason. Maybe we'll have to see how assess that, and see what these guys are coming into, what team they're coming into, what style they're coming into. But I
Yeah.
think maybe one or two players from Chelsea that might be a surprise from last year. At least one player for me would be Nkuku, because last year he barely played many minutes or games for Chelsea. He's coming back to the squad. He's had almost like a 1.5 year break from football in terms of consistent football. If he stays fit, I think he can be a great shot for forward at least. And again, in midfield, I think your sure midfielders. I think if KDB is staying for City, if he's going to stay fit for City, I think that partnership of KDB Haaland is still important, because in the end of the last season, we saw how KDB came and racked up a lot of assists and goal in the second half of the season, which we missed in the first half of the season. So I think for me, it's going to be the same thing, bro. Like I think these guys are very important. I think I would
Yeah,
put
yeah.
them instantly
I,
in.
I think Bukayo Saka is also, I think, a fairly decent shot. I think for a lot of people will, I think, have Saka in the end. Again, just consistent couple of seasons. He's both goals and assists. I think he does contribute quite a bit to Arsenal's goals. So I think he's another one who I think is a safe option. Even if you don't get like an insane return, you'll get a good return because he is also on penalties. So and you got the same manager. Like there's not too many changes. I think that way probably another safe option. But yeah, Rishi, dude, moving to the defenders. You think any short defenders that have to be there? I mean, you're
Sure.
looking at clean sheets obviously, and probably a goal here and there.
Yes, so this time there has been one change in FPL in terms of at least bonus points. So apparently now, henceforth, if for fouls drawn, for goal line clearances, for what else is it? For these two, you're gonna get bonus points, and you're gonna be reduced 4 bonus points for every goal conceded. That is for goalkeeper and defender. So we are looking at quite a few drastic changes. Like,
Yeah.
as you can see, like over the last few years, you've seen less and less clean sheets being kept, and only a few teams, a few reliable players and teams who were keeping clean sheets. And like, at least see, for United, they somehow did manage to keep clean sheets, but they were not reliable, and you could never be sure who was going to play because of the number of injuries they had. I think United had like one reliable defender. The same goes to City. They had so many options. The Pep roulette was always at loom. We were always scared because one for like 3-4 weeks we'd be reliant on, say, a Ruben Diaz, and then you see for the next 3 weeks he's not playing. He's just playing the cup competitions. He's playing your Champions Leagues, and he's benched for someone like Akanji or Ake. So these are the primary risks when it comes to defenders. And I don't think it would be very wise for us to go for like a lot of premium defenders in the squad, like, because I can't think of many teams. Maybe you can say with a certain level of confidence that Arsenal are a team who could keep a lot of clean sheets. So even then, almost all of Arsenal's defenders are premium priced. Almost all of them are 6 million.
Yeah. But wouldn't you gamble on somebody like a Ben White? Because of course he'll give you
Definitely,
I mean,
definitely. So
if you go by his form, assists are
yeah,
also
yeah.
a given.
His
Arsenal
his
conceded the
form.
least goals.
He hasn't played an international tournament in the summer. He's going to be fresh. He's going to play most of the games, considering at least his competitions. Like his place is for sure locked in that team. Like him, Saliba, Gabriel, almost all games they're going to play. Like at least in the league. So I
Yeah.
would I would say, like, even from an assist point of view, from a goal scoring point of view, he gave a decent return. So I feel someone like Ben White, or even say a Guardiola, would be a pretty decent shout, because even last year Guardiola was one guy who kept starting games, like, and who in the second half of the season he gave some decent returns like going forward also. So I feel
Ah,
these
yeah.
two would be really good like from the premium defenders to pick from.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Are the keepers, again, you're looking at clean sheets, of course. Rishi mentioned the rule changes. Uh, but yeah, again, just to keep it simple, of course, you're still going to be looking at the keepers that give you the most clean sheets for those maximum points.
I mean, dude, keepers one place. I don't think people really need to invest much or talk about it, because at the end of the day, it's only one position. Maximum, I would spend maybe 4.55 million on my keepers, starting keeper. It really doesn't matter in my opinion. Like with keepers, it's like a bonus. Like if a keeper does well that weekend and keeps a clean sheet, I think it's going to help. I think with keepers, the philosophy just should be like, if you have a value keep pick in terms of keeping. Last year, I know for a fact it was, not even Raya, it was Pickford, to be fair. It was pretty cheap and had a lot of clean sheets with Everton. So I think you can stay. If I'm not sure about Pickford's pricing, to be honest, but if it's the same or if it's at 4.55,
He's 5
I
million now.
would
He's 5
look
million,
in.
but yeah.
Yeah, I would look into someone like him. With City, they might have a keeper change. You don't know the future of Ederson. So if, for example, Stefan Ortega is the main keeper, I think his price will be around 4.5.
No, guess what? Both the City keepers are at 5.5.
That's crazy, bro. How
5.5.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know
both.
how, based on what.
I think they know that Ederson might leave and they must have increased it.
Wow, FPL, bro. Damn, mind games and all.
Smart guys. But yeah, see, thing is, with keepers, see, at the moment, I don't think there's any standout keeper for the pricing. Maybe in the future, we know certain teams want new keepers. With Newcastle, they're looking to replace Pope. We know Ramsdale may be on the move to another Premier League team. So I think if you have a value pick in that sense, you can take a keeper. For right now, I would stick with the likes of Raya or Pickford, just for the fact that they're cheap. I wouldn't spend a lot on that's my philosophy with keeper. It's just not worth it to spend a lot. So I've always kept my keepers. With me, it was always Chelsea keepers, because every year they have a random new kid, and that guy comes in at 4 million, 4.5 million. So it would be easy for me. So I think this year they're going to sign one more new kid, so I'm just going to put him in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
team.
it looks like that actually with Chelsea. Actually, that's not a bad shot because if you want a cheap keeper, Chelsea look like a team that are going to sign a keeper, and you can bring him in. He's going to be priced cheap. If they're bringing in the Villarreal guy, who apparently they've bid for, it's going to be damn. It's going to be interesting.
But
So
anyway, Sanchez will start. So I would rather, you know, the thing is, we'll have to look at, the first week. I think they're playing City in the first game itself. So it wouldn't make sense for you to keep, him in. But to be fair, bro, that's the thing with keepers. It's like you can change very replaceable there. Like even if they don't do well
yeah,
one game, you can just take them out and get another guy in. So with
yeah, yeah.
keepers, you get generally it's better to just go off with, your sure shots like Pickfords, Rayas.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Rishi, any other short picks that you think? We haven't discussed the likes of Phil Foden. Maybe Adi spoke about Cole Palmer, but somebody like an Anthony Gordon who did give a good return last year. Phil Foden not in the conversation at all.
Phil Foden, at least not at the start of the season, because again he has a lot of fixture congestion, and he just had a busy, summer. He's gone to Euros. He played pretty much every game of the Euros, if bar one maybe, and then even like I know for a fact, if I had to bet on something, it would be that Phil Foden is not going to start the first game. Like Pep is gonna not gonna risk. He's gonna play someone like Bernardo, Rodri, and like Foden's someone, and De Bruyne probably. Foden's not going to be risked, at least in the. He's going to be eased into the team, and I think He's just much more expensive. It looks like he's 9.5. That's for
Yeah,
someone who's going to be rotated heavily. At least towards the start of the season, when you're planning going forward, you're planning for your initial 2, 3, 4 game weeks. I don't think that's a risk worth taking. Like you mentioned, there are viable alternatives like your Nkunku's, your Ezzi's, your Anthony Gordon. So these at least these guys, they have shown potential. They're reasonably priced. They're all going to be sure shot starters. So I feel at least the initial game weeks, I think that should be our objective, to get in players who are in a decent form, but more importantly are, nailed on starters. We don't want like money tied up in players who are not going to feature as much. And I don't know why we are not even talking about Mo Salah. Like, I think he deserves a fair shout in most of our teams. At least if we're not going to have Haaland, dude, we have to just have him in the team and beg for him to, run it back, like back to the
I don't think
times.
it's necessary. I don't know why. I just don't feel like it's necessary to have.
See, it's fair that he's like, it's just a new Liverpool. You have to wait and watch, but I feel he's gonna, at least initially, the fixtures, they're gonna play Ipswich away, they're gonna play Brentford home, and then United. So I feel at least the first 2 game weeks like should be decently scoring chances, and there are other Liverpool forwards also. So I think Liverpool is also a team where you can look at.
Interesting. I'm just going to leave you guys with an interesting fact. Phil Foden, of course, has seen a 2 million bump, which is probably another thing that you want to consider. Cole Palmer's seen the highest bump in price in FPL history, a 5.5 million bump. He beat Andy Carroll, I think, back from his Liverpool days. So it's crazy. And now it's suddenly like, oh my God, are we going to have Cole Palmer in the team? It's going to be funny to see what happens. And yeah, I mean, as the season goes by, I think we'll have more, and we'll understand how players are performing. But I think if you're looking at really safe bets,
Like, I know we're all aware, but just in case we've missed out, now it's not going to be 2 free transfers anymore. We have up to 5 free transfers. So you can always rack up your transfers, get 5 transfers, and then if you have your 5 transfers, if you use your free hit or if you use your wildcard chip, that doesn't go away. So
they
if
don't
you
go
have
away.
transfers saved up, you use your wildcard, you still have the next game week, you still have 4 transfers. So all of us just keep that in mind.
We will do one on like just the rule changes, because there are a few to discuss. But yeah, these are some players we think you guys should have in your teams, and let us know if you think we missed out on any, and if you feel like these guys are sure shot starters for most people, at least in this year's FPL. But yeah, that's it from us, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. Subscribe to SportsKhabri, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.